Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Plus tonight. Stockton Vice Mayor Jason Lee is speaking out amid controversy over city funds used for a recent Wild 'N Out show. Then, in dollars and cents, what the One Big Beautiful Bill means for your taxes in 2025 and beyond. The ABC10 Plus recap starts now. Investigators returned to the scene of a hit-and-run crash that killed 2 teenage girls in West Sacramento. Crews closed down the area of Jefferson Boulevard between Southport Parkway and Bevan Road for a couple of hours earlier today. Tonight, families of the teens who died in that hit-and-run crash were able to face the suspect and address him directly in court. 71-year-old David Walker is facing 7 counts, including murder and involuntary manslaughter. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias joins us live now from the Yolo County Superior Court.
So Roxanne, talk about how are the families taking all of this?
Well, Chris and Laura, I've been speaking to the families for the past few days, and one thing is very clear. Both of these families loved these girls, that they were extremely loved. And Jaya Chapman's mother today telling me that every time she thinks of her daughter, she sees a picture of her, it feels like the impact of that hit and run in the pit of her stomach, and she feels that pain will never go away. Dressed in pink shirts showing her photo, the family of 17-year-old Leah Krista Clemens showed up in droves at the Yolo County Superior Courthouse. They were followed in by the family of her girlfriend, 17-year-old Jaya Chapman. And for the first time in a packed courthouse, they were able to face David Walker, the suspect connected to their daughter's deadly hit and run. Hearing new details of what happened that Saturday night.
Mr. Walker, by his own admission to officers, drank 6 to 8 ounces of vodka before getting in a vehicle.
The families also learned Walker admitted to flipping a U-turn, going back to the scene, speaking with 2 people, and seeing one of the girls before leaving the scene. Both Jaya's father and Leah's godmother were allowed to address the defendant in court.
I got so many words for you, bruh, but I'm telling you right now, we're not going to stop.
Those girls will never get to go to college, and they'll never get to get their driver's license, and they'll never get to have their 18th birthday.
Outside the courthouse, Jaya's father vowing to get justice for his firstborn daughter.
I want him to see me, and I want him to, whenever he go to the cell tonight, just to see me, and I just want him to let him know we're going to keep showing up, so he's going to continue to see me. Walker
is facing multiple counts, including 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, and 2 counts of hit and run. But on Wednesday, he surprised the families with a not guilty plea.
And I just think he's despicable. He stopped. He stopped and seen my grandbaby on the road.
Both families are now hoping for the maximum sentence, although they feel Walker is trying to reach a plea deal by pleading not guilty.
The most I can hope for is life without parole. That's the most I can help for, other than him dying legally through the court system. I don't think that the death penalty is on the table, but he deserves death.
Strong words there from the family. Today, Walker did ask for a public defender to be assigned to him. The judge says because he is considered a danger to the public, he will be held without any bail, and his next court appearance is set for August 20th. I'm live in Woodland. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Well, our thoughts are certainly with those families tonight. Keep us posted as you learn more. Roxanne, thank you. Today, the Antelope community is coming together to search for a missing woman. I want you to take a look. This is Koi Seiko. She's been missing since last Thursday. She's 53 years old and 4'11". She was last seen near her home in Antelope. Tonight, people are planning to gather at Lone Oak Park at 5 p.m. for a search party. If you have any information, please call the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. Meanwhile, tonight, Stockton Vice Mayor Jason Lee is speaking out. It comes in response to a controversy over city funds being used for a recent Wild 'N Out show.
He says everything was handled properly and in line with city policies. But as ABC 10's Austin Castro reports, the state attorney general may soon get involved in the investigation.
When I saw the weaponization of Wild 'N Out in the press, I was extremely concerned. But it didn't shock me because the politically motivated attacks that have been happening over the last 6 months since this interim city manager has been here has been extremely concerning.
Stockton Vice Mayor Jason Lee on Wednesday defending he did nothing wrong and was not involved in the decision to use city money to save a comedy show, Wild and Out, at Adventist Health Arena, a show that Lee helped bring to Stockton and he also performed in. In emails obtained by ABC10, arena officials warned city staff members that promoters of the show were considering canceling the May event because of low ticket sales a day before the show was set to happen. That's when someone at City Hall made the decision to use $50,000 from the city's risk mitigation fund to save the show. Lee says he was not involved in those conversations and everything was done according to current city policies.
The request should have gone to the city manager. It doesn't say the policy requires it to go to the city manager.
This week, Stockton's interim city manager launched an internal investigation into the money spent on the event, but Lee, as well as council member Mario Enriquez, say they did nothing wrong and they want the Attorney General's office to step in and prove that.
This sudden controversy that came out of nowhere is nothing more than a distraction from the real scandal that's happening in the building behind me.
Lee is calling this investigation a conspiracy and pointed the finger back at interim city manager Steve Colangelo, accusing him of violating the Brown Act and retaliation.
I will be making a motion directing the city attorney to refer this matter to the California Attorney General's office because transparency is important, ethics is important.
In Stockton, Austin Castro, ABC 10.
Austin, thank you. We did reach out to the city for a statement from the mayor and interim city manager on Jason Lee's comments today, but have not yet received a response. In tonight's Dollars and Cents, an update on a sweeping tax law we first told you about at the start of this year. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is now permanent due to the recent passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill. As a result, a Sacramento-based financial expert I talked with says you could end up paying less in taxes and have more take-home pay.
We first talked about the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act a few months ago at the beginning of the year as something to watch for in 2025. It was scheduled to sunset at the end of this year. Right. Things have changed. It is now permanent. And there's some good news for taxpayers. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and I would say, Laura, it's probably permanent with a small dose of steroids, if you will.
Joseph Eshelman, president of Tower Point Wealth, says if the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act did expire at the end of this year, most Americans would have experienced significant tax increases.
It was going to revert back to the tax brackets prior to that legislation passing.
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was originally passed by Congress in 2017 under the first Trump administration. It substantially changed federal tax deductions, rates, and credits. Now, the current 7 federal income tax brackets instituted back in 2017 are not going away, and the income thresholds for each bracket are also being adjusted upward to account for inflation and cost of living increases.
The bottom line is if the liability of an ABC10 viewer or of a person living in here in California to the IRS is reduced, ultimately, that's putting more money back in their pocket.
Since 2017, tax filers and joint filing taxpayers have enjoyed the benefits of a higher standard deduction, which the Act more than doubled. The Big Beautiful Bill raised the standard deduction even more, reducing taxable income for many households. Take a look. For single filers, it went from $14,600 to $17,000. For married couples filing jointly, the standard deduction went from just over $29,000 to $34,000.
Anytime we're able to realize additional cash flow and additional money in our pocket because we're paying less to Uncle Sam, I'm perhaps a bit biased as a financial advisor, but so much the better.
Eshelman says the larger standard deduction means more income staying in your pocket before taxes are collected. Eshelman says since 9 in 10 tax filers already use the standard deduction, this expansion increased the standard deduction's value further. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act also capped the deductions for state and local taxes at $10,000 a year.
But the new Big Beautiful Bill actually increased the SALT deduction from $10,000 up to $20,000 a year. So for a lot of ABC10 viewers, a lot of Sacramentans, it's a huge increase in how much they're able to deduct off of their tax return and hopefully ultimately put back into their pockets to do with what they want.
In the next few weeks, we're taking a deep dive into more tax benefits you could see thanks to the passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill, including the increased child tax credit and the so-called senior bonus. Remember, you can watch more of my Dollars and Cents coverage streaming right now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. The app is free to download on your TV. You can also email me your questions at lpainter@abc10.com.
In Citrus Heights, they're hoping to create a more secure water future. The Water District today held a groundbreaking for 2 new groundwater wells. We're told they'll be first to use aquifer storage and recovery, meaning the wells will be able to put water back in, taking rain and heavy river flows and injecting the water back underground for use at drier times.
We know that less snow is coming down. It's coming down as rain. So in those wet months, we can actually take that water so it doesn't run out to the ocean, pump it underground, store it there, and then it'll be there when we need it in the dry summer months.
The project is being funded by more than $6 million in federal grants and state and local funding.
Protecting Lake Tahoe while balancing sustainability and conservation. That's the theme of this year's Tahoe Summit.
Now listen to this. Bipartisan leaders from California and Nevada came together to try and reach that goal.
ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen reports from South Lake Tahoe and shares with us how they plan on protecting the lake while dealing with challenges at the federal level.
Kicking off the 29th annual Tahoe Summit, actor Jeremy Renner. He urged lawmakers to promote clean energy, prioritize fire protections, and protect wetlands to ensure Lake Tahoe remains blue.
Preserving Lake Tahoe requires leadership, action, and above all, unity.
Each year, lawmakers and leaders from both sides of the aisle join together in partnership to make sure Lake Tahoe continues to be protected. The focus every year is to do it in a bipartisan manner. Republican Nevada Governor reiterated his state's commitment to Lake Tahoe.
Our legislature reaffirmed funding for essential projects aimed at improving forest health, preserving lake clarity, and enhancing access to state parks.
With a lot of tension in Congress, Democratic U.S. Senator Adam Schiff says he wrote a letter to the Trump administration recently asking for support.
Urging that the administration consider federally funding certain projects here under legislation designed to identify particular important efforts at conservation, preservation, recreation.
Even though the Tahoe Summit celebrates bipartisanship, California leaders do tell me that they are concerned about the decisions made on a federal level to cuts made to the Lake Tahoe area.
We are still in a position where we have the resources to continue to commit to environmental protection. But let's face it, we're in a real crisis right now. The values of this White House are not the same as the values of the people of the country.
The Tahoe Summit has historically been championed by former U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein. Since her passing 2 years ago, Congressman John Garamendi says her legacy will always be remembered for everything she's done for Lake Tahoe.
So her legacy is seen in 100 different places in California. You talk about water policy in California, that's Feinstein. You talk about the Redwood Forest, that's Feinstein. You talk about Tahoe, that's Feinstein.
In South Lake Tahoe, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
Jeannie, thank you. The Tahoe Summit is also an event where lawmakers work with tribal leaders to ensure their homeland is protected for future generations. And it looks like it was a beautiful day out there in Lake Tahoe, the place to be as we're tracking a warm up.
Especially this weekend, Monica. I was looking at some of those temperatures flirting with 100, right?
Oh, I know. We've only had 4 so far this year. So, you know, we're thinking, okay, probably going to get a couple rounds of at least near 100-degree heat here before summer comes to an end. Low pressure system to the north of us today provide us with some cloud cover. That will stay in place through tomorrow as well. So kind of a mix of sun and clouds out there. Certainly didn't dampen getting those highs deep into the 90s for today. Awfully close to 100 for Stockton and Fairfield. Even 81 for San Francisco. Quite warm across the bay. Near 90 for the foothills and close to 80 up top for the Sierra, where you saw those beautiful pictures in the high country. August rundown. So far, we've seen a lot of blue and green, meaning largely below average to near average temperatures. Today, we got one of those red days up there, above average temperatures, and expect a whole lot more as a high pressure ridge starts to build. That's going to bring us moderate heat risk starting Friday, lasting through Saturday, Sunday, even into early next week for much of the valley and kind of peppered throughout the foothills as well. As we take a look at our bigger forecast here, we are going to see temperatures warming. Now, will we get to 100? Well, all eyes are on that tally right now. 4 so far this year. 16 is the average, so we're way behind what we normally see. Right now, it's a mix of sun and clouds out there, kind of a hazy end to our Wednesday. Wednesday. Temperatures holding in the mid-90s. That sunset not until 8:10. 75 right now with sunny skies for Tahoe. A look at that rundown for tomorrow. We start the day with our sunrise at 6:14. Just a bit of cloud cover out there hanging in through tonight and early tomorrow with lows only in the low 60s. So it is a nice little drop, but not quite as cool as what we were seeing earlier this week. Temperatures warming into the 80s by noontime, and then we're mostly in the 80s and 90s through much of the day. Temperatures very similar to what we saw for today. And again, because of that low to the north of us here, that is going to keep us with just a hint of cloud cover out there for our Thursday. Then this high pressure ridge takes over. It's warming air and basically looking at highs in the upper 90s to near 100 in the valley. Highs are near 80 tomorrow for the Sierra with 80s and 90s throughout the foothills. Across the coast, a little bit cooler for tomorrow with highs in the 60s and 70s. Inland areas still getting into the 90s tomorrow. Morning lows starting off in the 60s. It's a bit of a jump start on those afternoon highs, and we are starting to see some 100s pop up here. Turlock, Patterson, and Colusa included in that. Upper 90s for Roseville and Folsom. Elk Grove up to 97 tomorrow afternoon. We're in the 80s for the high country. Again, no thunderstorm activity for the higher elevations, which is certainly nice. At least that brings down that risk of lightning sparked fires this point in the season. Hills will be in the 90s, 70s for much of the coast. Look at our extended forecast. We are starting to see that warming. It really starts to ramp up Friday through the weekend with highs in the upper 90s to near 100. And we'll see some of us getting into the 100s Saturday and Sunday. It's just not going to be widespread. Certainly warm enough, though. I mean, we're talking 1 degree. It's Rob, Brendan, and I will go back and forth in the weather department going, do we do 100? Do we not? Do we do 100? It's 1 degree. When it boils.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah, right. It's like a psychological thing, right?
It totally is.
I feel warmer when I see 3 digits.
Yes,
Monica, thank you. The battle in Texas over whether to redraw the state's congressional maps enters its 3rd day. Several of the state's Democratic lawmakers have fled the state in protest as their Republican colleagues call for their arrests. President Trump, well aware of Republicans' narrow control of the U.S. House, is pushing for Texas to redraw its maps and help give Republicans 5 more seats. The president even said yesterday he's entitled to them. And that's a claim Democrats say is anti-democratic, while Governor Newsom has proposed a redistricting plan in California.
Yeah, we caught up with 2 longtime California lawmakers today to ask them about the plan.
We should never have to do this, but you consider what Texas is doing and their power grab directed by Trump, we have to fight back. And so we're going to go forward.
You know, I think a lot of constituents in California and other blue states who have adopted independent commissions, who have done the good government thing, look at what Republicans are doing elsewhere and ask, you know, are we suckers to do this? How can we play by one set of rules and other states play by a different set of rules?
Governor Gavin Newsom hopes to put new maps in front of voters in November. Just yesterday, candidate for governor Steve Hilton said he'll challenge that plan in court if the governor moves forward. Meanwhile, the governor in New York has also talked about redistricting in response to Texas. And keep in mind, right now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app, we do have more coverage on the redistricting fight. Look for it on a home screen. The app is free to download on your TV.
Welcome back in. I am Kevin John, and welcome to Shredville, USA, a place where the Davis football team enjoyed a historic season last year. But that was last year, and this year the team is looking to follow up on all that success, all while accomplishing one thing: finding joy.
Every day, man, we should be trying to seek joy in what we're doing and find joy in the little details, find joy in the meetings, find joy in the practice. That's just what we do here.
Finding joy can also come in the form of doing the air guitar at practice. In just his first year as the head football coach, Tim Plow led Davis to 11 wins and a postseason run.
We have high expectations, but you know, I've said a couple times, no one has higher expectations for us than us. You know, we want to do great things here. We want to win the Big Sky. We want to put ourselves in a position to be playing at the end of the year in January.
It also helps when you return quite a few studs, including someone who's been named a preseason All-American and the Big Sky preseason Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Rex Connors.
It's nice to have the pressure, you know, because it kind of keeps you going forward. You can't take days off.
You know, you can't just go through the motions out here. You got to come out here ready to get better every play, every rep. It matters.
And for junior receiver Sam Batu, he's feeling optimistic about what they have to offer on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm very confident. I think it's going to be a new dynamic to the offense. A lot of new guys that, you know, haven't been in the shadow.
One of the biggest storylines during camp is who exactly will be throwing the ball to Batu come the regular season. Will it be Caden Pennick or Grant Harper? The quarterback battle continues.
They both have come out in the fall and played really well. They've both upped their game. I think it's a really close competition, and that's a positive.
One thing's for sure, it will be a fun time in Shredville this fall.
You know, it's going to be exciting. You know, you guys make it an exciting atmosphere. You know, be loud, bring the energy, and we'll be out here performing on the field.
You saw the air guitar they were hitting in practice right there, you know.
I think they're finding the joy there.
Finding the joy and finding the rhythm, you know.
Yep.
The team that dances together wins together. Isn't that what they say?
Okay, back in the day, 1984, Eddie Murphy made his action debut in Beverly Hills Cop. 40 years later, plus, he's in another action film. ABC 10's Marcus Allen has more on The Pickup, where he plays a security guard.
Yeah, exactly, Walt, and that's why I'm hanging out in the command center of one of the biggest security companies in California to get to know security, get to know security transport. In the meantime, take a look at the movie. It is The Pickup. It is one of the funniest Eddie Murphy movies I've seen since, let's go, Trading Places or Beverly Hills Cop. It is a buddy picture. He and Pete Davidson are phenomenal together. I caught up with him to talk about it. I've talked to him dozens of times through the years. Every other conversation, he says this. Take a look.
Marcus Allen. Now, haven't your whole life, haven't you, Dave? Marcus Allen, football player.
I got kicked out of the celebrity golf tournament in Tahoe because they thought I was making fun of Marcus Allen.
I thought you were going to say you showed up and they were like, that ain't Marcus Allen!
Hey, good to see you. Yesterday, I was in Folsom Lake with my sons, and I said, do you guys remember the last time we were in this lake? Who pulled up on a jet ski right beside us?
Yeah, I used to have a
Eddie
house
Murphy.
right on the lake. Yeah, we used to jet ski there. It was fun.
Well, good to see you again. I hope you have fond memories of that. I have fond memories of every movie you've ever done. Looking back at your movies, home runs tend to be historically when we see you teamed up with an SNL cast member. And I love with Dan Aykroyd, it was a generation before you. And then with Mike Myers, it was a generation past you. And now teaming up again with an SNL cast member for this century.
Hey, you know, I didn't even thought about it like that. But yeah, all my collaborations with people from SNL have worked. Yeah.
Keke Palmer delivers a monologue in what's otherwise a comedy heist movie. And you, I'm told her to really emotionalize it. And she said, I'm going to go full Angela Bassett. And then in the middle of delivering that scene, you started clapping. And she thought you, Eddie Murphy, were clapping. You were just in character clapping. And she broke.
Yeah, it was funny. And she was like, actually said, I was acting like I was clapping like she told this story. And I was clapping like, yeah, right, great. And she thought I was clapping for her, and she said, "Oh, thank you." And I was like, "I'm still in character." It was a very funny moment.
Such a funny moment. So very funny. When you see the movie, now that you see that in context, you're going to laugh even louder at it. The comedy is so funny. The buddy picture elements of it with he and Pete Davidson are so funny. Keke is phenomenal in it. You're going to dig this movie. It's now playing. You know, most movies open on a Friday. It's open Wednesday. Today, it hits big screens, and see it on the biggest screen possible. What I love about it, Eddie Murphy actually went to security guard training before he became that armed transport guard in that. So that's why I'm hanging out with these guys. Gentlemen, for all you do, give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you. Marcus, step over here for a second, sir. So this is Mr. Vasquez. You might know him. He used to be the PIO for Sacramento PD.
That is correct.
So now you're doing this, Men in Black, as it were.
Yes.
How long have you been with this company?
Just a couple months.
You were telling me that it truly is revolutionary in that you have eyes everywhere, multiple drones, you have cameras all over town.
We absolutely do. Again, this is just the way that, you know, the security company's moving towards, just the way that to be more efficient, to bring costs down, to just really have eyes everywhere, right? This is just the way of the future.
Awesome. And I know the answer to this question already, but because you brought it up earlier, Walt, there's a lot of fun and games in this movie, but what you do, not a lot of fun and games.
Not always, sir.
Got it. All right, there you go. Rarely, it's rare. This might be the only time this year someone called me sir, though. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. Walt, back to you.
Are they looking for people in the industry, Mark? And what would be a good qualification to have? Military background? What are they looking for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't want to do too deep of a dive in your background, but do you mind sharing with me some of the things that you've done in your previous lives?
Yeah. I was former Army military police.
There you
I
go.
was a government security contractors in the Middle East for a number of years, and then I worked for the federal government and law enforcement before I got medically retired.
That is awesome. And thank you for your service all those different ways. I'm going to push Hugh back. It's a tiny room to squeeze through over here. What are you looking for if you want to hire, if you were to look out? How could someone join you, join your forces?
Yeah, so obviously we can just apply, right? It's our website's www.hqsecurity.us. Obviously apply. We're looking for some great talent, good people. You got to be professional, good customer service, and we're really looking for some good people out to work for us.
That's great news. I'll link all that to abc10.com. So they're looking for you. Look for them. Back to you.
Okay, it's good to know that they're looking for some good, some veterans too. Veterans apply who have experience. Thank you, Mark S. Allen.
Thank you so much for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
We're in day one of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns. Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.